Hey guys, welcome back to another Startup Wise video. In today's video, I'll be going over the top 10 Notion tips that will save you a ton of time per week, whether you are trying to organize your personal life, get more done in your businesses, or manage a team more effectively. All 10 of these tips are super simple tricks that you can start using immediately after this video. And although some of these do take some investment of time to set up, it will ultimately pay off in the long run with the amount of time that you're able to save. If you don't have a Notion account already set up, we'll leave a link down in the description below for you guys to follow along with me on this tutorial. Anyways, with all that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with number one, we have using the / key for command shortcuts. So here I am in my Notion, and I'm gonna go ahead and go to the test page that I already have set up. And if I just go ahead and click on an empty section, it's gonna say type the / key for commands. So you guys can see I already have a couple of pages that I already tested out. But usually what people would normally do is they would just type in, like page, and let's just say, for example, 6. They would press enter, and then they would go back to the page and then click on the 6 dots right here to open up the menu. And then they would be able to turn it into a, header, page, to-do list, bullet list, or whatever. If I were to click on this page, then it would create it into a page, and then I would have to click into it in order to, write whatever I need to write into it. So let's just say like blah, blah, blah. And then in order to go back, I would just click on test right here. Now, a faster way that you can do this is by just typing in /page, and right here you'll see that it's a basic block, and you can go ahead and click on it or press enter, and from there you guys can see that it'll create that page inside of your test page. And from here you can name it like page 7, press enter, and immediately just start typing right away. And as you guys can see, if I go back, it turns it into a page that I can click into, and it's even faster than clicking on the 6 dots right here and then going straight into the turn into page, because then you'd have to click on it and then name it. So this can work with a ton of different things, not just pages, right? So if I want to create a to-do list, instead of doing to-do list, right, pressing enter and then clicking on the 6 dots and then turning it into a to-do list, from here I could just type in to do and it'll be able to create that right away. Another way that you can easily start up a to-do list is by just using the bracket signs. So if you go ahead and choose the bracket sign facing the right and then close it with the other, then if you click on space, then it'll create a to-do list. And let's say you want to create a header, right? So normally you do /heading, and you can select from 1, 2, and 3 depending on the size. But a faster way that you can access these headers is by just using the hashtag symbols. So if you just want the header 1, then you just put 1 hashtag and then press spacebar. You guys can see that it creates the heading 1. And if you want the header 2, then you just type in 2 hashtags, press spacebar, and you can see that it creates the heading 2 for you. There's tons of different keyboard shortcuts that you can figure out on your own just by messing around with Notion, but I would say the most useful one is by far using the / command to just, create a page just by typing in /page, and then from there you can immediately name the page and then start typing away. Okay, the second time-saving tip on the list is using the paste and sync feature. This allows you to duplicate data from one page to another, and every time you edit the data on one page, it'll simultaneously update on all the other pages that are synced. So to show you guys an example, going back to my Notion page, I'm just gonna type in some text, and if I go ahead and select the block and I copy, and I go ahead and go to my other page, so let's say my databases page, and I paste it, you guys can see that it gives you the option to dismiss, paste and sync, or link to page. So if I click on paste and sync right here, you guys will see that a red box will appear around the block. And from here, basically anytime that I edit something on this red block, right, I can press enter and add some other stuff. So test text 2. If I go back to my test page, you'll see that it actually updated on here as well. And this works with all different types of pages, right? So I can create another page called test 2. And if I go ahead and select the block of the sync and copy it, and I paste it over to test 2, it'll go ahead and sync it as well. So just to test it again, I'll type in test text 3. And then if I go back to the test, you'll see that it updated, as well as on the databases page right here. So this is pretty useful when you have a bunch of team members that are constantly going to a Notion page, and something like a call to action, instructions list, or anything that is frequently changing, you could use these synced blocks in order to change it on one page and then instantly change it on all the other pages within your Notion workspace. Okay, moving on to number 3, we have a specific keyboard shortcut that'll allow you to search for any page in your Notion workspace. Within your Notion workspace, sometimes you can have a ton of different pages with a lot of subpages inside of it. So things can get kind of disorganized and you can easily lose track of all the different pages that you've created, right? Because over time, you build up a ton of different subpages within your pages in Notion. And so the easiest way that you can find any page is by pressing on Command or Control if you're on PC, and then pressing the P key. So because I'm on Mac, I'm gonna go ahead and hold the Command button and then press P. And then from here, I can search anywhere within my Notion page, any type of keyword, right? So if I want to search up, let's say item 2, you guys are gonna see that it generates a ton of different matches based on some of the things that are inside of my Notion pages, right? So for example, I'm in my databases, and let's say that my database has like over 100 different items. So each item in your database could be named something totally different. And over time, this can take a lot of time for you to just scroll through and try to find each page that you're looking for. And so with using Command P, you can find anything on any page, right? So for example, if I want to go ahead and find page 6, right? I just have to type in page 6. And as long as I know the title of the page, I can just type in the keyword and it'll be able to find the best matches for me. And I can go ahead and sort it by created by, right? So if multiple people are in your Notion workspace and somebody else on your team created the page, you can filter it by people. You can filter by which page it's on your Notion workspace. And you can even use a date filter. So yeah, super useful if you have a ton of different pages on your workspace and you remember creating a specific page, but you don't know where it is. Okay, moving on to number 4, we have using the Notion web clipper that you could use to add any web page onto your Notion while you're browsing the internet. So here I am on the Notion web clipper page. I'll leave a link down in the description for you guys to check this out if you guys want to install it. It's available for Chrome, Safari, and Firefox. And as you guys can see, you can literally save any page on the web to Notion, and so that you can save a bunch of time instead of having to copy and paste the link. You could just use the Chrome extension, for example, that you could use to clip anything onto your Notion. You guys can see right here that the extension looks like this on your Chrome page, for example. And when you click on it, it'll give you the ability to name the page that you're trying to save. And you can also add it to a specific page in your Notion workspace. And you can basically create an entire database of all the clips that you've made from your websites for future references and projects. And this is also available on iOS and Android, right? So if you're browsing the web on your phone, then you can use the Notion web clipper extension as well. So just to show you guys an example, right? I just installed the Notion web clipper onto my Chrome, and you guys can see that it says right here that it's been added. So if you guys go ahead and go to your extensions, you can see that it's right here. And if I go ahead and click on it, it'll save basically this page that I'm on right now. And I can add it to, any of my pages here that I have. So let's say I just add it to my test page. And for this example, I'll just keep the title as is, and I'll click on save page. From here, it'll save it and it'll ask me if I want to open in Notion. If I don't want to, then I could just go back to my Notion page. And if I click on test, then you guys can see that it's right here at the bottom. And if I go ahead and click on it, it'll give me a link to be able to go to the website. And as you guys can see, it also gave me a ton of different resources like SGV export, Workona, Leaf, Joy Pixels, and Google Translate. So as you guys can see, web clipper, super useful, especially if you're using Notion for everything, documenting a ton of websites that you're on, right? So if you're doing research for like a script, for example, you can go to different articles, websites like YouTube, right? And once you found something that you want to keep onto your Notion database with all of your research, you just have to use the extension and you can clip it and then move on to the next website. Okay, tip number 5 is going to be creating a homepage for your Notion. Now, this is going to take a bit of time to set up if you want it to be as customized as possible, but it's super worth it if you want easy access to important links all around your Notion workspace without having to navigate through all the subpages and pages on your sidebar. So if you guys notice, when I first created this Notion page, it created a personal home for me. And this is really all you need for a home page. And from here, you can just customize it with your own stuff, right? So if you want to change the cover picture, you can change it to the color red, yellow. You have a bunch of different images that you can choose from, as well as the ability to upload your own photos, as well as link any image from the web. For example, if I was customizing this for myself, I would name this Joey's Home. And from here, I can create a bunch of different things that I want to have. So I can, for example, create a header 2, right? And then name it monthly And then right underneath it, I can add a divider. And from here, I can create separate pages, right? So I can create a page, monthly goals, and I can go ahead and add an icon. Let's just say, for example, a calendar. If I go back, you guys can see that it created it for me to be able to click on. Now, if I want something like this, where it has the sidebar, all I would have to do is just create another section. So let's say I do another 2 hashtags and I create yearly, and I put a divider under it. You guys can see that if I drag this out to the side, it'll create that separation right here in the middle, and I can go ahead and drag the divider as well. From here, you guys can see that this thing will remain full page. So if I want to, then I can just drag it underneath the monthly and it'll appear underneath my monthly. And so right here, it's separated. So that's an easy way to create the column effect if you guys want. And something that you can do that'll save you a ton of time is link to separate pages on your Notion. So for example, if I want to link to my databases page, all I would have to do is click on / and then link. Right here it says link to a page, and if I want, I just have to select the databases page, and from here I can just click on it and then it'll go to my databases page. And if you guys want to create a homepage for, let's say, your company, then you can go ahead and click on the templates right here. And as you guys can see, there's a bunch of different templates that you guys can choose from. But if you guys scroll down to the human resources, you see that there's a company home template that's already built into Notion. And from here, you guys can see that it's separated from the team to the policies and, just a bunch of useful things that you might need for your company to put on your Notion page. So you can go ahead and just click on get template, and you guys can see that it will load onto your Notion page, and you can share it right here to any of your team members, and it'll already be set up with all this stuff for you. You just have to go into each page and fill it out with your own company information. Now, going back to my personal homepage, if you guys notice, when I linked the databases, it didn't actually link the view. It just linked the page. So for me to be able to view it, I would actually have to click into it, which would, allow me to go to that specific page. But if you guys want to actually link the view, we could actually do that as well, which leads me to tip number 6, which is embedding databases to your homepage to make it really easy to see things at a glance. So if you want to do this, then all you have to do is just click on /link. And if you guys see, this is the option that we used before where it just links to an existing page. But if you guys scroll all the way down, you guys can see that it actually is able to link a view of a database as well. So if I go ahead and click on that, you guys are going to see that it's going to ask me which database or which data source that I want to create a view of. So let's say I want to create a view of my database 1, right? So I'll go ahead and click on that, and you guys can see that it basically creates a view of what I have on my database 1. So if I go back to my database and I go ahead and I add another item, right? So item 4, and I go back to my personal home, right? You guys can see that it actually updates in real time. So this is a really good way for you to just keep track of all the stuff in your company without having to go into your sidebar and find the specific subpage or page that it's in. You just have to create a view inside of your personal homepage and then just link it as a view instead of a page. Now, this does take up some space, so I would recommend that you only do the important stuff that you want to create a view of. If not, then I recommend just keeping it as a simple page that you can click onto. Either way, saves you a ton of time because all you have to do is just click on your homepage, and then from there, you'll have access to all of the different things that are happening within your business. So let's say you have one section for, just employees, right? And so you can have different dashboards, right? So let's say this is my dashboard, so I can name it Joey's dashboard, and I can just click on this dashboard and be able to create a specific view in here, right? So if I want, then I can create a board view, and I can go ahead and source this from a dashboard that I create for myself. So let's say I want to create a dashboard for myself, right? Joey's dashboard. And if you guys are interested, we have a separate tutorial on the channel that'll teach you guys all about creating employee dashboards on Notion, right? This is a great way to, keep track of and delegate and manage all of your employees on Notion, right? So for example, I'll just create my own, and I'll just go ahead and create a board view of all of my tasks. So let me just create a new database, and I'll call this Joey's tasks. And from here, I can go ahead and just insert any tasks that I want to give to myself. And if I go to my homepage, right, and I go back to my dashboard, I can go ahead and add a data source, and I can go ahead and show more. And right here, you guys can see that it has Joey's tasks. I just have to click on that, and you guys can see that it creates a view of that right there. So I can basically keep all of my employee dashboards on this little section right here. Or if you guys want, you guys can also link the view specifically. So if I go down here and I go to link and I scroll all the way down, I can go ahead ahead and link the view of the database. So if I go ahead and link my tasks, it's going to show up right here as an entire view, and I can keep track of it all from my homepage right here. So super useful for being able to track a bunch of different things in your company, right? You only want to usually focus on the important things that are happening, as the business owner, as the manager. You don't want to have to waste time, combing through all of the different pages on your sidebar. You just want to be able to access all of the important stuff that you know that you need to see every day on your homepage. Okay, moving on to tip number 7 is utilizing other people's pre-built templates and just duplicating them for your own workspace. So if you guys didn't know, there are tons of free templates online that are super good for, a bunch of different things in terms of businesses like tracking productivity, management, personal life, and it can save you a ton of time if you use their templates instead of creating your own custom one. And there's actually a ton of different templates on Notion's website itself. So if you guys want, I'll leave this link in the description as well for you guys to check out. But as you guys can see, they have, templates of the month, and you can browse by a bunch of different categories like design, education, engineering, freelance, marketing, nonprofit, personal, and a bunch of other things, right? So if I go ahead and just scroll, you guys can see that they have just a bunch of different templates that are made by individual people online. And if you like any of the designs, then you could just click on them and then duplicate. So for example, I found this really minimal dashboard that I like, right? So it's just has your notes, your work, personal, and life all in one, and it has different little pages inside that you click on, right? So from here, all I would have to do is just click on the duplicate button right here on the top right anytime that I find a template online that I like. And once I do that, it'll duplicate the dashboard onto my dashboard, and I can customize it however I want. So if I want to change this picture, I can. If I want to add a cover or comment, I can, and it's pretty much mine now. So if I want to go ahead and click on the goals right here, and you guys can see that it has like some things that are already inside of it, but I can go ahead and add my own things to it. I can change whatever I want, and I can even go ahead and delete this stuff if I don't want it, right? Super customizable, which is one of the great things about Notion. And just taking advantage of all the free templates online is a really, really good shortcut that you can use instead of having to, create all of this stuff yourself, right? You can just go online, and there are a bunch of different paid templates as well. If you want, then you can pay for those if they're really, really good. I recommend that you just check out any of the free ones, right? There's definitely not necessary for you to pay for any Notion templates, but if they're worth it, then, sometimes there are really good Notion template pages that, you really just can't duplicate anywhere else, right? Like it has a bunch of different complex formulas inside. So for those ones, maybe I would consider paying for those. But for the majority of you guys, I would just stick with all the free templates that are available online. So right here, I literally just Googled Notion templates free, and you guys saw that I went to the Notion page, but there's also different websites like Gridfeedy, there's Nick Lafferty, and there's notioneverything.com with a bunch of different free Notion templates for you guys to check out. So for example, if I go on Nick Lafferty's website, then you guys can see that it has a bunch of different Notion templates for students, bundles, productivity, personal finance, work, as well as just aesthetic Notion templates. So we don't have the time in this video to go over every single Notion template out there on the internet, but I highly recommend that you guys check out the links in the description where you guys can access these websites and then go ahead and see for yourself which one you guys like and which one will fit within your business and your company the best. And you guys can just go ahead and duplicate it onto your own workspace instead of having to create a custom one for yourself. It can easily take a lot of time if you want to create a custom page that is specific to your company. Okay, moving on to tip number 8. This is going to be being able to move databases or basically anything that you want to move to the side, but you can't do it with certain things like databases, right? So for example, I have these two databases that I already created, and if I wanted to create these side by side, for example, I just clicked and dragged, right? Normally you would just be able to move it to the side right here, but you guys can see that option isn't available. So in this case, I would instead go ahead and click on these 6 dots right here, and I would turn it into a page. I would go ahead and turn the second database into a page as well. And from here, I would go ahead and drag it to the side like so. And if I go ahead and click on the 6 dots again, I can go ahead and turn it back into an inline, and I can do the same for database 1, right? So just click on the 6 dots, turn it back into an inline. And as you guys can see, it's able to be side by side now. And as you guys can see, there's a lot of empty space right here. So again, if you guys want, you guys can go up to the options right here on the top right hand corner and click on full width, and it's going to go ahead and take out all that empty space and fill it with whatever you have. So again, super simple tip, but for anything that you guys want to move side by side, but you guys can't, then all you have to do is just turn it into a page, move it to the side, and then turn it back into whatever it was originally. Okay, tip number 9, this one's gonna be a pretty simple one as well, but essentially if you want to duplicate any block, all you have to do is just hold the Option key or the Alt key if you're on PC, and then you can drag and move any block and then duplicate it to wherever you want on the page. So instead of having to click on the 6 dots, right, selecting the block and then doing Command C or Control C and then going to where you want to paste it and then doing Command V or Control V, you would instead just have to hold down the Option key or the Alt key, just drag the block, and then you can drag it to wherever you want and it'll duplicate it. And this works for, a bunch of different things, right? So let's say I go to my test page, right, and I want to select all of this different stuff. I don't just want to copy this block. I would just have to highlight all of this stuff. And if I go ahead and again hold down the Option key or the Alt key, I could just drag and move and basically copy and paste everything that I selected onto wherever I want on the page. I can even do this for moving it sideways, right? So I can duplicate onto the side right here and it'll duplicate the exact same thing. And this is super customizable with anything that you have, right? Let's say I want to do this one, just hold down the key again and just duplicate it and put it to the right. So super simple shortcut. Instead of having to press Command C and then Command V, all you have to do is just hold down Option. And again, if you're on PC, all you have to do is just hold down the Alt button. Okay, so the last Notion tip that I want to tell you guys about is how to bulk edit Notion databases. So right here, I have my dashboard again, and I went ahead and created a table view. And as you guys can see, the status is not started for all 3 of my cards, right? And I have the option of changing it to in progress versus done. So if I want to change all of these to done, instead of just going into each one and then selecting done manually for each task, all I'd have to do is just click and drag my mouse over all of the different tasks on my dashboard. And then from here, I could just right click, and then right here where it says edit property, I could choose to edit all the different names, all the statuses, and all the due dates and stuff, all the properties for my tasks that I selected. So right here, if I go ahead and select status, it's gonna allow me to change all these to the in progress. And as you guys can see, all the different options changed to in progress. So this is a super simple way for you guys to do some organizational stuff within your dashboards, right? So let's say there's a bunch of different tasks that somebody on your team has already completed, and it's just sitting in their dashboard waiting for you to set to the done status. All you guys have to do is just highlight, right click, go to the edit property status, and you can change it to whatever status that you guys want. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial. I hope that all of 10 of these tips were helpful in some way. And again, if you guys want, we'll leave timestamps throughout the entire video so you guys can go back to each single tip that we went over. And you guys can also check the links in the description below if you guys want to check out all the different websites that we talked about, as well as the website to Notion, where you guys can create an account and then go back to each step and then follow along and do it in your own workspace. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below and we'll try to answer those questions as soon as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos just like this. Here at StartupWise, we're dedicated to helping out entrepreneurs and business owners take their business to the next level with platforms like Notion, ClickUp, all that good stuff. And we also have different tutorials on our channel as well, and being able to use these platforms to take your business to the next level. Anyways, that's it for now. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.